Hi, friends. Today we're going to try to escape from an evil dog in Roblox. It's right behind us, but it seems to be sleeping. So for now, we're safe.
Hi everyone! Not only do we have challenges ahead, but also boss battles. By the way, if you know the name of this dog, let us know in the comments.
Sheriff Labrador, what if we jump on her belly?
Let's do it, but be ready in case she wakes up, don't worry.
I think she's stuffed and watched TV all night.
Yeah, looks like we need to crawl through the vents. But there's parkour ahead. Good thing I did that back in school.
Oh no, you accidentally broke her mom's vase. Looks like she's sleeping soundly. Hope she won't notice when she wakes up.
Let's quickly pass through and slip away. Oh, here's a huge room. See those metal platforms? We need to press a button.
I wonder why this dog created all these challenges. I don't think she could handle them herself, although they could be useful for maintaining health.
Wow, it's a rope bridge. I used to ride one of those when I was a kid. Maybe she built all these obstacles so no one could disturb her sleep. But here we are, trying to escape from her. Strange that she kidnapped us. Look, she has a family. Why can't we see them? And who's the guy in the picture on the left? Looks like Tom's friend.
I have a theory. We've entered a world of talking animals. Maybe this is hell because no one wants to be forced to talk, especially about things they don't want to.
Probably. She built all these trials to avoid the fate of endless conversations. Now we need to find the others and figure out why we were kidnapped.
Maybe they kidnapped us so we'd replace them in conversations and they could be free? Or maybe they feed on other animals and that gives them the ability to talk? Or maybe they're just a little crazy. We need to focus on getting out of here and figuring out what's going on.
We need to crawl through the vents. It's the way to the next location. Hopefully we'll meet some new characters.
Look, it's Talking Tom!
Oh, he fell!
Get ready to run.
I don't think he has good intentions. Have you ever seen Tom with red eyes? He looks like he's ready to crush us like pancakes. Looks like he's about to start shooting lasers.
What if he can do more than just talk? We'll need superpowers to apprehend the suspects.
Why is he hiding around the corner? Did he think we couldn't see him?
Maybe he's a little dumb or just sleepy and disoriented.
He has funny little teeth like a baby. You know, he even seems a little cute to me.
Oh, looks like you like all of this. Hope you don't start turning into one of them. Are you in a trance or something?
I don't know. Hope I'm not getting absorbed by this atmosphere. If something happens, let me know.
Of course, let's go through the vent. We've already dealt with Tom. Let's see who's ahead. Looks like a kid's room.
Maybe it's Ben's room?
You're right, it's a girl. I wonder what her name is and if she's facing the same problem as Ben.
While you were talking, we're already in her paws. Why did we get teleported back? I don't think she's as evil as Tom.
I think so too. If she wanted to bite us, she would have gotten out through the bars. There are huge gaps in them.
Oh, her name is Lily. Strange that there's no room for her brother. Why are they separated like that? Let us know in the comments if you have a brother or sister and live in the same room.
What if something happened to her brother? Maybe that's why everyone went crazy and thinks we killed him.
Dobie, you're daydreaming again. It's distracting us from our main goal. I don't think it's as scary as you think.
We're in the central ventilation system that provides oxygen to the entire complex. I wonder what we can leave as a souvenir here.
It was an ordinary night when Dobie and I were patrolling the city of animals. Nothing unusual until a strange light appeared in the sky. It was pulsing, changing colors, and moving like it was alive. I immediately realized it wasn't a meteor or a regular drone. We decided to approach it. When we got to the deserted park, the light grew brighter and descended right in front of us. We stopped, turned on the sirens, and began observing. And then, from that light, dogs began to emerge.
I thought it was some kind of illusion, but no, these dogs look nothing like us. They were large, with bright, almost glowing eyes. Some of them wore metal collars, which were clearly more than just decorations. I felt something stir inside me. It was like encountering something completely different. They approached us confidently, as if they knew exactly what they were doing.
They didn't look like ordinary dogs. Their behavior was calm, but determined, and their eyes held such confidence that it was immediately clear. They weren't random visitors. One of the dogs, who seemed to be the leader, stepped forward and stood on its hind legs. It looked at us, and we realized that it wasn't just trying to scare us, it was trying to communicate. It began explaining that they came from another world, where everything is the opposite. There, dogs are the rulers, and humans are the pets.
I couldn't believe my ears. It felt like something out of a science fiction movie. These dogs claimed that their civilization was much older and more advanced than ours. They traveled between worlds, and now that they had found ours, They wanted to propose an exchange. We, the dogs, should become pets in their world, and they would become the masters in ours. And to do this, they were willing to use their technology to move us there.
I was stunned. We, the dogs, would become pets, and these creatures, strange as it sounded, would take our place. But their confidence in this proposal was so strong that there was no point in doubting. They said their world was one of harmony and order, where dogs rule and humans serve as pets. I felt that this wasn't just a random appearance of aliens. It was a proposal that could change everything.
I kept trying to wrap my head around what they were offering us. Exchange. It wasn't just a word. It meant that our world would change forever. We could try living on the other side, in their world, where dogs were rulers and humans were our pets. We could experience a life we'd never known and see how everything worked there. But I also realized that if we agreed, we would never return.
We were faced with this choice: exchange worlds, become pets in another world, or stay in ours. But knowing that would mark the end of ordinary life. I didn't know what to do, but in their eyes, I saw sincerity. This was more than just an offer. It was an opportunity. We could change not just our lives, but also understand what it meant to be part of another reality.
When they offered to use their technology to travel between worlds, I felt my heart race. It seemed unbelievable, but the thought that we could become part of their world was inevitable. Dogs ruling humans. Life in another world. I didn't know what awaited us, but I was sure of one thing. From this moment on, everything would change.
The day Dobie and I received the call, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. We were patrolling the streets of Animal Town, as usual, when our radar beeped. It was an emergency call, and when we heard what was happening, I felt my heart race. Something terrible was approaching. An evil scientist, known for his bizarre inventions, was threatening to launch a machine that could turn rain into a shower of sweet candy. It seemed harmless. What could be wrong with candy rain? But we knew the consequences could be catastrophic.
As soon as we heard about the scientist's plan, we knew exactly what was at stake. Candy rain wasn't just a fun prank. Sheriff and I knew that too much sugar was a serious threat. If this rain actually fell, all the kids would get toothaches. But it wasn't just that. We all know how hard it is to control the urge to eat a candy. What if there were too many of them? It could lead to severe dental issues and even health problems. We had to act fast.
We sped through the city, and with each passing kilometer, the sense of urgency grew. The scientist, as always, couldn't just leave people alone. He was insanely confident in his plan and didn't think about the consequences. In his lab, a massive machine was already prepared to launch the candy rain.
When we got to the location, everything was ready. The scientist was standing by his machine, surrounded by a tangle of wires and mechanisms that clearly didn't look safe. We immediately realized that time was running out. The machine had already started launching the first candies into the air. They were falling with great speed, like rain, but instead of water, it was caramel, chocolate.
Well, here we are. Behind this door, we've got the map's final boss waiting for us, and it looks like we were wrong. This isn't just any boss. It's a giant robot named Ben. Let's try shooting him right in the teeth. I'm aiming for his legs. Maybe that's his weak spot and he'll fall.
Wow! Ben turned out to be a real coward. Instead of fighting, he just built a giant robot.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he were sitting in a chair right now, sipping coffee and watching a movie. I hope it's not alcohol, though.
And he's probably watching football while we're attacking him. This is so unfair. When we got to the location, everything was ready. The scientist was standing by his machine, surrounded by a tangle of wires and mechanisms that clearly didn't look safe. We immediately realized that time was running out. The machine had already started launching the first candies into the air. They were falling with great speed, like rain, but instead of water, it was caramel, chocolate, and lollipops. I quickly assessed the situation. If we didn't intervene, tomorrow all the kids would be in trouble. As soon as we turned off the machine, the sweet rain stopped.
Wow, we won! Don't forget to congratulate us in the comments, but it's time to leave this crazy world of talking animals.
Well, I guess it's time to say goodbye. Hope you enjoyed our escape from the talking animals.
Yeah, don't forget to leave comments, like, and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to us. Also, check out our other videos and let us know what you'd like to see next. Time to move on. Let's go to new adventures. Wait, what's going on over there? I hope that's not a giant ginger robot. Or Angela. Bye. Evil Grandpa is already near. Watch the video to the end to save us. Hello, friends. Today, we have found ourselves in a terrifying mode in Roblox. Escape from Evil Grandpa. It turns out this grandpa is not as simple as he seems at first glance. He was abandoned by his grandchildren and children, and now he lives alone in an old, gloomy house. And what did he do? He turned his house into a real nightmare.
Hi, friends. Yes, Labrador is right. This grandpa turned out to be not only evil, but also quite inventive. He has set up many traps and obstacle courses in his house that we need to overcome. But the most interesting part is that he spent his whole life building a giant robot. Can you imagine? In the end, we will probably have to fight this robot. Labrador, run faster so he doesn't catch us. I'm scared.
Grandpa's house is full of strange and dangerous places. For example, he has made floors out of lava and various poisonous liquids. This is not just a house, it's a real death maze. The walls are decorated with paintings of his relatives and friends. It seems Grandpa hasn't completely forgotten about his past.
And these paintings don't just seem to be decorations. They create a strange feeling, as if we're constantly being watched. Grandpa clearly didn't want anyone to find the way out of his house. But Labrador and I aren't the type to give up. We will look for the exit and uncover all the secrets of this place.
It's interesting that Grandpa also engaged in various experiments. Throughout the house, there are traces of his scientific research. It seems he was trying to create something dangerous and powerful. Perhaps that's why he decided to build a giant robot. This house is like a mad scientist's laboratory.
Yes, Labrador, and this makes our adventure even more exciting. We have to be careful and vigilant to avoid falling into his traps. But we will manage. After all, we are a real team, and despite all the dangers, we will move forward and find the way out.
We have a lot to learn about Grandpa and his past. Who knows? Maybe he's just seeking attention and understanding. But one thing is for sure, his house is full of surprises, and every step could be a challenge for us. We need to stay alert and be ready for anything.
Our adventure is just beginning, and we are ready to overcome all the obstacles that Grandpa has prepared for us. Because ahead of us is a meeting with his giant robot. It won't be easy, but we will manage. Or will we? Guys, you definitely need to like and comment to make sure we succeed.
So, friends, we continue our exploration of this creepy house. We have already gone through several rooms, and each one was full of surprises. I especially remember the room with the lava floor. This grandpa clearly loved complex and dangerous mechanisms.
Yes, Labrador, it was just awful. I would never have thought that Grandpa could set such a trap in his house. But we managed, and that's the main thing. And you know what else caught my eye? The paintings. They show Grandpa with various people. Maybe it's his family, or maybe friends. It seems like each painting hides its own story.
These paintings are indeed strange. It seemed to me that in some of them, Grandpa looks like a completely different person, kind and cheerful. What happened that made him so evil? Perhaps loneliness and resentment did their job. But we need to move on and find the way out.
I noticed those changes in his face too. It seems he wasn't always like this. But now we need to focus on our path. There are still many traps and obstacles ahead. And of course, we must not forget about the giant robot that Grandpa has been building all his life. This will be our main challenge.
But first, we need to get out of this house. I think Grandpa left clues somewhere here. Maybe in the basement or the attic. These places always hold something important. We need to carefully inspect every room and not miss a single detail.
I agree, Labrador. We have to be attentive. Every little thing could be the key to solving the mystery. And also, we need to be ready for any surprises. Grandpa could set an ambush at any moment, but we will manage because we have a plan and a team.
Oh, how memorable this story is. As you know, our town is always full of interesting events, but this case truly surprised us. It all started at school when a new physical education teacher named Grandpa Steele appeared. At first glance, he was a kind old man, and all the children immediately liked him because of his gentle eyes and calm voice. But that was just a facade, behind which hid a real mystery.
Yes, Labrador. At first, we didn't even notice that something was wrong. Grandpa Steele was quite an unusual PE teacher. Instead of regular exercises during class, he suggested that the children do their training outdoors, running around the city and completing strange tasks. At first, everything seemed harmless, But with each passing day, his tasks became more and more bizarre. He asked the children to collect things from the streets. Bags, phones, wallets, anything small enough so that passersby wouldn't notice.
The small tasks started with simple requests. Bring me something interesting, or take this as a souvenir. But soon when the children began bringing him other people's things, it started to raise suspicions. One of the students, Sam, accidentally told his parents that he had brought someone's glasses from the park because Grandpa Steele said it was part of the training. The parents immediately suspected something was wrong. They came to us with a complaint, and we started an investigation.
When we began investigating, it became clear that Grandpa Steele wasn't just teaching physical education. He was manipulating the children, making them steal things from passersby, and those things later ended up in his class. He claimed it was a way for the children to develop agility, but in reality, it was a scheme to collect valuable items while also gaining power. The children felt they were learning something important, not realizing they were becoming part of a criminal activity.
We couldn't just let this go. The day I discovered a couple of bags and phones in the classroom, I realized we needed to intervene. Dobie and I started keeping an eye on Grandpa Steele and his students. We noticed how he spent more and more time outside with the kids, directing them on their hunt. There was no doubt that Grandpa was using his position as a teacher to manipulate the students.
And then came the moment when we decided to take action. We set up a trap. On the day of the next training session, we planted hidden cameras in the area where he usually held the lessons. When Grandpa Steele and the children approached one of the shopping rows, we saw him quietly push the students towards stealing. He even told one of them, "Pick up that bag, it'll come in handy." At that moment, it became clear that we needed to intervene immediately.
When we approached and asked Steele about his actions, he immediately began to justify himself, claiming that his methods were just a training exercise to make the children more agile. But we knew that, in reality, he was using the children for his own gain. We called the police right away, and while they were on their way, we helped the children return all the stolen items to their owners. It wasn't easy, but we couldn't leave the kids in that situation.
After we dealt with Grandpa Steele, all the children returned the stolen items. We talked to them and explained that it's important not only to train your physical abilities, but also to develop moral values. Grandpa Steele was, of course, arrested, and the school held a general assembly for students and parents. We told everyone how important it is not to fall for manipulation and to always remember your principles.
Like I said, there's never a dull moment in our town. That day, strange fiery spots appeared in the sky, and before we knew it, a giant spaceship hovered over the city. It turned out that the aliens weren't here in peace. Their mission was rather unusual. They wanted to take all our grandfathers and grandmothers to a cosmic retirement home.
Yes, Labrador, the aliens were planning to take the elderly, promising them comfort and peace. But the elderly didn't want to leave. The problem was that they were somewhat swayed by the promises, and the aliens began acting, trying to take them right off the streets.
Of course, we couldn't let that happen. Dobie and I immediately began gathering the elderly and explaining that we needed to take action. But the aliens weren't going to back down so easily, and one of our elderly ladies was already on her way to their ship when Dobie and I intervened.
That's when the idea struck me. We quickly gathered the elderly who could help and started devising a plan. Using antennas and old televisions, we set a trap for the aliens. They must have thought they had found an important signal and started following it, just as we had planned.
When they got close, the elderly activated their traps, and Dobie and I sprang into action. The aliens started panicking, and we caught one of them. It immediately threw them off balance.
After that, we set up a real finale. We cornered the alien ship in the town and created interference with their communications. They tried to leave, but their ships began losing stability.
And so, we not only protected our elderly, but we also sent the aliens off peacefully. In the end, no one had to go to the cosmic retirement home, and the elderly threw a celebration in honor of their victory.
Yes, that day was a real lesson for the aliens. The elderly in our town aren't just old people, they are real heroes. And for you and me, Labrador, it was yet another example of how important it is to act together.
Well, friends, our adventure in the Escape from Evil Grandpa mode has come to an end for today. We learned a lot about his past and went through many challenges.
Thank you for being with us every step of the way. Your likes and comments help us get better and braver.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you won't miss out on new exciting adventures in Roblox and other games. There's still plenty of fun ahead.
See you next time, friends. We'll definitely meet again in new thrilling adventures.
Hello friends, it's me, Sheriff Labrador, and today we're taking on a series of challenges together with my friend Dobie.
Hey everyone! Yeah, just like Labrador said, we're playing a challenge map in Roblox. The mode is called Escape from the Dungeon.
Our first challenge is parkour on barrels over a huge lava pit. Dobie, are you ready?
Yes, Labrador, I'm ready. Phew, we made it through this challenge. Now we move on to the next one. We have to jump across wooden planks, but the most important thing is not to fall.
Dobie, how do you like this mode? I really enjoy it. The harder the challenges, the more I start loving this game.
I agree, Labrador. This map is amazing. Very well designed and detailed.
Let's move on to the next challenge. We have to run under giant spikes in time. If we don't make it, we lose.
Labrador, this is terrifying. One wrong step and it's game over.
Don't worry, Dobie. We'll get through it for sure.
We did it, Labrador, but we can't relax. There are even harder challenges ahead.
Now we're climbing up a ladder and entering a strange room filled with chests. We need to open them all and find the key to the door.
Oh, Labrador! We have to find the key to escape from this scary room.
I've opened so many chests, but still no key. Dobie, how about you?
Labrador, come here. I found the key.
Hooray, we're out!
On the next level, there are invisible traps under our feet. Labrador, we have to get through this level on our first try.
We're slowly making our way through, carefully jumping over the invisible traps.
Yes, we cleared this level on the first try. Teamwork makes anything possible.
Now we have to climb down giant wooden beams, but we can't fall. There's poisonous water below, and if we fall, we lose.
I agree, Labrador. We can't afford to lose now.
Dobie, we're so close to beating this level.
Yes, Labrador. We're almost there, and we did it. We're moving on to the next challenge. Let's grab the checkpoint. Up next is parkour on rocks, but if we fall, we'll get crushed and lose.
Oh no, Dobie, we fell. Is this the end?
Don't worry, Labrador. That's why we took the checkpoint. We have another chance.
Yes, we did it, and we're moving forward.
We finished the parkour, and a boulder pushed us straight into the next challenge.
Now we have to jump from rock to rock at super speed. Below us is a huge sea of acid. If we fall, we lose.
Phew, Labrador, we made it through this level.
The day started as usual, with a strong cup of coffee and another morning briefing. I was going through reports when my radio suddenly blared with an urgent alarm. The dispatcher's voice was shaking. Something unimaginable had happened at the Rainbow Meadow Kindergarten. Eyewitnesses reported that a giant dragon had suddenly appeared in the center of the building and was now holding it under siege. Inside were teachers and children. Dobie had just entered the station holding a box of donuts in his paws, but as soon as he heard the call, he set it aside immediately. This was an emergency.
When we arrived at the scene, we were met with a sight straight out of a fantasy movie. The dragon, massive, covered in green scales with enormous wings and eyes that burned like embers, was perched on the roof of the building. Its tail slowly moved, breaking apart the wooden fence of the playground, while its clawed paws gripped the chimney. Panic-stricken adults ran in all directions. Fire had already spread to the top floor, and we knew there was no time to waste.
The first thing we needed to do was find out if there were any injured people inside. As we approached, one of the teachers informed us that all the children had barricaded themselves in the playroom on the second floor. They were scared, but safe for the moment. The only problem was that they couldn't get out. The main entrance was blocked by debris, and fire had cut off the emergency exit. The dragon watched our every move, and clearly wasn't going to let us pass easily.
We decided to split up. Labrador would distract the monster while I tried to get inside through a window. The dragon tilted its head as Labrador pulled out a megaphone and turned the siren to maximum volume. The loud noise made the creature flinch. It turned toward him and let out a deep, rumbling growl. At that moment, I ran to the window, pulled out a crowbar, and struck the glass with all my might.
The dragon saw me as a threat and suddenly spread its wings. I barely had time to jump back as it dove from the roof straight at me. The ground shook from the impact, and I rolled to the side. Meanwhile, Dobie was already climbing inside. I had to hold the monster's attention. If it brought the building down, it would be a disaster. I spotted a fire hydrant nearby and rushed toward it without hesitation. I needed to open it and try to spray the dragon with water.
Inside the building, it was unbearably hot. The walls were cracking, and the air was filled with the smell of smoke. The children huddled in a corner, trembling with fear. I promised them I'd get them out and told them to hold hands. We started making our way to the exit, but suddenly there was a loud creak. The ceiling beam collapsed, blocking our path. We needed to find another way out.
I struck the hydrant several times with my baton, and a powerful stream of water burst out. The dragon roared as the water hit its face. It recoiled, shaking its head, giving me a chance to regroup. I quickly scanned my surroundings, searching for a way to finally subdue it. Then an idea struck me. I could use the nearby construction cranes to trap the monster.
We found a passage leading to an old storage room. There was a back door, but it was jammed shut. The children huddled together in fear as I tried to break it open with my shoulder. The smoke was getting thicker, the air hotter. We were running out of time. I grabbed a metal pipe and used it as a lever. The door finally gave way and we rushed outside.
The dragon was taking to the air. This was our last chance. I sprinted toward the construction crane, jumped into the cabin and yanked the controls. A massive net filled with steel beams swayed in the air. The dragon soared upward, but I had timed it perfectly. I released the load right on top of it. The beams struck its wings, sending it crashing back to the ground. The beast roared, tangled in the net.
I saw the children running into the arms of their relieved parents, but the dragon was still dangerous. It thrashed, roared, and struggled against the net. At that moment, specialists from the Magical Creature Protection Agency arrived. They used special tranquilizer darts, and within minutes, the monster finally calmed down.
We stood there, catching our breath, watching as the specialists loaded the dragon onto a transport platform to take it to a sanctuary. The children were safe. The firefighters had put out the flames, and the teachers couldn't stop thanking us. Dobie and I exchanged a glance. Another case closed.
As everything settled down, I looked up at the sky where the dragon had once soared. This was one of the toughest challenges we had ever faced, but the most important thing was that no one got hurt. We had done our job. And now, I think it's time to head back to the station and finally finish those donuts I left behind before this crazy day began.
The day started as usual. Coffee, reports, and post-inspections. Everything was calm in the city of animals. Dobie and I were about to start our morning patrol when a raccoon named Timmy burst into the station. He looked frightened, his eyes darting around, and he was out of breath. He told us that his friend, the fox Rick, had disappeared. The last time anyone saw him, he was playing a new game, Poppy Playtime 4. Timmy swore he had seen Rick literally vanish into the screen. At first, we thought it was a joke or just childish fears, but then Timmy showed us his tablet. The game's loading screen was still glowing, and there, in the reflection of a store window inside the factory, was a silhouette. It looked just like Rick. I exchanged glances with Dobie. This all seemed impossible, but we couldn't ignore it. If the game was somehow pulling players inside, we needed to figure out why. We sat down in front of the screen. The title flickered, and then the words appeared. "Welcome to the Playtime Toy Factory. Enter your names to join." I typed in my name. Dobie did the same. The moment we pressed enter, the screen flashed, and darkness swallowed us.
When I opened my eyes, dim lighting surrounded us. We stood in a long corridor. Flickering lamps cast strange shadows on the walls. The air was stale, filled with dust and a strangely sweet scent, like old gummy candy. Labrador looked around. A poster on the wall read, "Welcome to Playtime Factory. Keep smiling." Below it stood a broken toy, a giant plush bear with an eerily wide grin. In the distance, we heard children's laughter. It was quiet, but it sent chills down my spine. We moved forward. The factory looked abandoned. Scattered toy parts lay on the floor, and the silence was only interrupted by the occasional creak of metal. Then we heard whispering.
The day started peacefully. Dobie and I were sipping our morning coffee at the station, getting ready for our usual patrol. The streets were quiet. The citizens were going about their daily routines, and nothing seemed out of the ordinary. But everything changed when the phone rang. On the other end, we heard the trembling voice of a kindergarten teacher from Happy Tales Daycare. She was gasping in terror, almost screaming. "The daycare has been taken over. A giant dinosaur broke through the entrance, roaring and not letting the children out." Then, the call was abruptly cut off. Dobie and I exchanged glances. No questions asked. We jumped into our patrol car and sped off toward the daycare at full speed. This living toy wants to catch us. Watch the video until the end to save us. Oh no! Hello, friends! Today, Dobie and I found ourselves in an exciting new Roblox game called Escape the Epic School. Obby. This school looks simply amazing. Bright walls, beautiful classrooms, and hallways. But as soon as we started moving through the school, we realized that something was wrong.
Hello, everyone! Yes, Labrador, you're right. In this school, all the teachers are animated toys. They've gone haywire and have become real threats. The head teacher is a huge head with a police hat and long arms and legs. He looks terrifying, and just seeing him gives you the chills. But that's not the only danger.
The school is indeed impressive with its beauty. Every classroom and hallway shows attention to detail. At first glance, it seems like the perfect place for learning. But we quickly understood that behind this beauty lies something sinister. The toy teachers, who were supposed to entertain children, now pose a serious threat.
One teacher that stood out was a toy pizza. When we first saw him, he seemed quite funny. But as soon as we got closer, he came to life and started chasing us. We quickly realized he was no joke, but thanks to our experience and teamwork, we managed to escape the danger.
All these teachers were once part of the educational process, but something went wrong, and they became the school's guards. We found out they were created to help children learn, but a system failure caused them to act aggressively. This is especially true for the head teacher, a huge head with long limbs. His appearance is truly frightening.
As we progress through the school, we notice how everything is meticulously detailed. The chemistry classroom has real laboratories, the gym has exercise equipment and basketball hoops. But none of this is for us. We need to find an exit and avoid these animated teachers.
With each passing minute, we become more convinced that this school is not an ordinary place. Everything here is designed to keep us inside. We constantly feel the eyes of these toys on us. They watch our every move, and it makes us uneasy.
Despite all these difficulties, we remain optimistic. We know that together we can overcome any obstacles. We've found ourselves in similar situations before and always found a way out. This time, we are not going to give up either.
Thank you for being with us, friends. Your support means a lot to us. We will keep you updated on all our adventures and hope that together we can escape from this epic school.
Stay with us because there's much more excitement ahead. We are confident that we can overcome all challenges and find a way out of this mysterious school. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and you can leave any comment, and we will respond to it.
We have a story about a school. When Dobie and I received an urgent call to the school, I had no idea what awaited us. Usually such calls are related to minor incidents, but not this time. We were informed that the teachers had started acting strangely. They were destroying classrooms, tearing up textbooks, and causing complete chaos. It was unimaginable. Dobie and I immediately realized that this was serious and we needed to act quickly. When we arrived at the scene, the students were already trying to calm their teachers, but it was clear that they had completely lost control.
I had never seen anything like it. Imagine a school where instead of the usual learning process, there is complete chaos. Teachers, who were always examples of order and discipline, suddenly became totally unpredictable. They were breaking desks, scattering teaching materials, and seemed to be in some sort of trance. The students, on the other hand, were trying to calm them down, which was surprising. I saw how the older students took on the role of adults, trying to organize and protect the younger ones. Labrador and I immediately started figuring out what could have caused such behavior in the teachers.
We quickly discovered that everything started when a new history teacher appeared at the school. It was said that he brought with him some ancient artifacts that he used for his lessons. One of these artifacts was a strange box with intricate patterns that he showed to the class. It was right after this that all the problems began. The teachers who saw this box immediately started acting aggressively. We decided we needed to find this box and understand what it was. But where to look in such chaos?
We started our search in the history classroom, but it was a complete mess. All the shelves were overturned, books scattered everywhere. Labrador and I decided to split up to find the box faster. I went to the old cabinets while Labrador checked the desks and drawers. We found a map.
We realized that the map was somehow related to the teacher's hypnosis. We needed to quickly find a way to lift this effect. We approached the school principal, who fortunately had not yet been hypnotized. He told us that he had heard legends about such artifacts, and that the only way to remove their influence was to find the key to these symbols.
Labrador and I set out to find the teacher. The trail led us to an old building on the outskirts of town where he was temporarily living. We entered his room and found numerous books and documents related to magic and hypnosis. Among them, we found a diary where he detailed his experiments with the box and the map. It turned out that he had accidentally activated a spell that caused this chaos. The diary also mentioned that to lift the spell, a ritual needed to be performed in the schoolyard using the map and certain words.
We returned to the school with the map and began preparing for the ritual. The students, despite the chaos, helped us as best they could. We explained to them what needed to be done, and together we started the ritual. Dobie lit the candles while I held the map and read the words from the ancient symbols. Suddenly, everything around us was illuminated by a bright light, and the teachers began to come to their senses. It was an incredible sight. The spell was lifted, and the school gradually returned to normal. The teachers became themselves again, and the students showed that they could handle the most difficult situations. You know, guys, there's another story where you'll recognize your school. Usually in schools there are fights or small pranks, but this time the situation was much more serious. The students decided to play a prank and locked all the doors so no one could get out. They stuffed the toilets with shirts and turned on the water, causing a massive flood. Imagine a school turned into a huge aquarium, with water flooding the halls and classrooms. Dobie and I had to act fast to save the school from destruction.
When we arrived, we were met with an incredible sight. Water was flowing out from under the doors, and inside the school, there was total chaos. Students were in panic, some trying to escape by climbing onto desks and tables. The water kept rising, and the situation was becoming more and more dangerous. We knew we had to act quickly, or the school could suffer even more damage. The first thing we did was contact our elephant friends, who could help us absorb all the water.
While we waited for the elephants to arrive, Dobie and I began evacuating the students. We helped the children get out of the classrooms and directed them to the exits. Some doors were blocked by water, and we had to use our strength to break through the flood. Despite their fear, the students tried to help each other. Dobie and I coordinated their actions to avoid panic and injuries. Meanwhile, the water kept rising, and the situation was getting more critical.
When the elephants arrived, we immediately sprang into action. Thanks to their powerful trunks, the elephants began absorbing the water like giant sponges. It was an impressive sight. They worked quickly and in sync, helping us save the school. The water level gradually started to drop, and the panic among the students eased. The elephants did an incredible job, and thanks to them, the situation was brought under control. Labrador and I continued to oversee the evacuation, helping those who were still inside.
Gradually, thanks to the elephants' efforts, the water level began to fall, and we were able to assess the damage. Many classrooms were flooded, furniture was ruined, and educational materials were lost. However, the most important thing was that no one was hurt. The students and teachers were safe, and that was our main goal. We thanked our elephant friends for their help, as we wouldn't have been able to manage without them. Now we had to deal with the aftermath and figure out who exactly was behind the prank.
We started the investigation, interviewing students and teachers. It turned out that a few high school students decided to play this prank and didn't think about the consequences. They realized what they had done and were genuinely remorseful. We had a disciplinary talk with them, explaining how dangerous such pranks could be. It was important not only to punish the guilty, but also to teach them responsibility for their actions.
In the end, the school returned to normal life. We helped organize repairs and restore the damaged property. The students and teachers learned how important it is to be cautious and think about the consequences of their actions. Dobie and I were glad everything ended well and that we managed to prevent a catastrophe in time. This story became a lesson for everyone, showing that even the most innocent-looking pranks can lead to serious consequences.
And that's how this unusual story ended. Once again, we were reminded how important it is to be attentive and responsible, and our elephant friends showed that they are always ready to help in tough times. It's important to remember that together we can tackle any problem, and true strength lies in unity and mutual support.
And don't forget, despite all these challenges, we still find moments for laughter and joy. The Epic School is just one of the many adventures we're experiencing thanks to you. Your likes and comments are what motivate us to keep going and overcome all difficulties.
Absolutely! So don't worry, we'll be back here to finish this adventure and defeat the main teacher. We'll continue searching for a way out. And of course, we'll make sure to tell you how we managed to do it.
Hello, friends. Today, Dobie and I have a new mission. We entered the game Roblox and found ourselves in a school. But this is no ordinary school. It has been taken over by an evil gym teacher. There are no more lessons, no students, only silence and chaos. We must stop him and restore order.
I can already see that the situation is serious. Desks are overturned, textbooks are scattered on the floor, lockers are open, and at the end of the hallway, there's a huge banner. Here, PE rules! Labrador, it looks like this teacher has turned the school into his personal gym. We need to act fast before things get worse.
We move forward, but the school seems to come alive. The doors behind us slam shut, and now there's no way out. The only path is forward. I can feel that the teacher is nearby. He's definitely watching us. We need to be ready for any traps.
The hallways look strange. Some walls are crooked, staircases lead to nowhere, and the old school clocks are frozen at the same time. Something is definitely wrong. We carefully make our way forward, staying alert. Soon we'll have to face his challenges, but we won't back down.
We enter the first classroom. Everything is upside down. The board is broken, desks are piled up, and even the posters on the walls warn, "Run faster, or you'll stay here forever." This is clearly not just a school, but we are sheriffs, and our job is to save this world.
Getting through this class wasn't easy, but we managed. Beyond it, we found a long hallway leading to the gym. I can already hear the sound of heavy footsteps. The gym teacher is nearby. He doesn't want us to reach him, which means we're on the right track.
The walls are covered with certificates of athletic achievements, but they are scribbled with strange words. The weak do not survive. PE is power. This teacher has gone too far. We need to stop him before the school turns into a nightmare from which no one can escape.
We approach the gym doors. They are massive, made of iron, with the words, "Only the strongest may enter." Behind them awaits the main villain of this school, the teacher himself. It's time for the final showdown.
The doors burst open with a loud crash, and we find ourselves in a massive gym. Old benches line the walls. Rules of training are scribbled everywhere, and in the center stands him. Huge, wearing a tracksuit with a menacing glare. He crosses his arms and smirks at us.
This teacher looks intimidating, but we won't be scared so easily. He clearly wants to test our strength. He's strong and fast, but we're no amateurs either. The key is to stick together, stay calm, and find his weaknesses.
The battle begins. The gym teacher moves fast, but we dodge his attacks. Every step we take brings us closer to victory. He tries to corner us, but we find a way out and keep fighting.
The fight is intense. The teacher throws sports equipment at us, but we skillfully avoid all obstacles. He's not as confident as he was at the start. His energy is draining, but we don't give up. Just a little more, and the school will be free.
And now the final push. The teacher is defeated. He admits his loss and vanishes. The school is under our control again, and now students can return. We did it, Dobie.
Yes, Labrador, this mission wasn't easy, but we did it! Evil has been defeated, the school is saved, and order has been restored. We proved that no one can take over the school as long as the sheriffs are on duty. Great job!
Today, I'm going to tell you a story that started as a routine call but turned into a true test for me and Officer Dobie. It was a day we would never forget. It all began with a distressing call from worried parents. They said their children were staying late at school, and those who did leave looked completely exhausted. We immediately set off to investigate. The school looked strange. The windows were covered with curtains, the yard was empty, and the doors were locked. It seemed like no one was inside, but as soon as we tried to open the door, a loud, commanding voice echoed from the school's intercom.
I recognized that voice instantly. It was Coach Bully, the local gym teacher. He had always been strict, but no one expected him to go this far. His voice echoed through the halls. He declared that the school now belonged to him and that all students had to undergo a real training course. Those who failed the trials would stay in the school forever. He challenged us to prove our strength as well. Labrador and I exchanged glances. Backing down was not in our nature. The moment we stepped forward, iron gates slammed shut behind us. A screen on the wall lit up. Our first challenge was waiting.
We found ourselves in the gymnasium. In front of us was a long path with dozens of rubber balls flying across it at high speed. A single hit could send us tumbling back to the start. We started moving. I ducked as a ball whizzed past just inches from my head. Dobie dodged skillfully, but one ball clipped his side. He stumbled but quickly recovered. We realized that running straight through was a bad idea. We needed to use the equipment as cover. I signaled to Dobie, and we began moving in short bursts, using every column and bench for protection.
The balls kept coming, but we were faster. At the last moment, we leapt behind a wall that led to the next room. The moment we crossed the line, the ball stopped. The first trial was over, but there was no time to celebrate. Ahead of us, the schoolyard doors opened, revealing our next challenge.
On the school's running track, we faced our next test. Hanging from the ceiling were heavy weights, tied to ropes. The rule was simple. If you stopped or slowed down, the weights would drop on you. Coach Bully announced that we had exactly 5 minutes to complete 3 laps. We took off running. The first few meters were easy, but then the weights started swinging, creating new obstacles.
We sped up, trying to predict their movements. I felt one of the weights pass just inches from my back. Labrador barely dodged another. The final lap was the hardest. The weights were falling twice as fast, and we were running on sheer determination. Just as I was about to get caught, Labrador lunged forward and grabbed me by the scruff, pulling me out of danger. We tumbled across the finish line, and the weights came to a halt. Waiting ahead was Coach Bully himself.
We entered the main hall. Coach Bully stood in the center, surrounded by students. He was massive and muscular, and in his hands, he held a whistle, clearly not an ordinary one. He declared that this was the final trial. If we defeated him in a fair fight, the school would be free. If we lost, we would stay there forever.
His whistle turned out to be a weapon. The moment he blew into it, the sound wave hit us so hard that we nearly collapsed. We realized we had to take it from him. I dashed to the side, drawing his attention. Labrador seized the opportunity and lunged forward, knocking the whistle from Bully's hands. The coach roared in anger, but it was too late. Without his whistle, he lost his main advantage.
We used his size against him. As he charged at us, I positioned a gym mat under him, making him lose his balance. Dobie swept his legs out from under him, and Bully crashed to the floor. The students, seeing their greatest fear defeated, stood up to him. They surrounded him and declared that they would no longer obey his rule.
When it was over, the school doors opened and the children ran to freedom. We announced that the school was once again under the protection of the law. Coach Bully was sent for rehabilitation. From now on, PE class would be a place of fun, not fear.
That day taught us a valuable lesson. Victory isn't just about strength, it's about strategy, courage, and teamwork. We saved the school, and now we know, together, no villain stands a chance against us. That day, the world changed. Strange signals began to come from space. At first, we thought it was just static, but soon it became clear. It was a call from aliens. The sky was filled with lights, and we realized we had to act. Dobie and I immediately decided to get to the bottom of this.
Exactly, Labrador. As the signals became more frequent, we began to prepare. The aliens didn't just arrive. They were clearly planning something. We understood that we needed to be ready for anything. At first, they just observed, but soon they began to intensify their actions. We started losing contact with the outside world.
Realizing that we were being influenced, we immediately began constructing antennas to intercept their signals. Each message from them became more and more complex. I never imagined I'd face something like this. We had to figure out what they wanted from us.
When we started decrypting their messages, it became clear. They were preparing for an invasion. We needed to find a way to stop them. At first, we tried negotiating, but they didn't respond. The aliens only strengthened their signals.
Our team developed a special device to block their signals. But as it turned out, that was just the beginning. When we started preparing for the final attack, the aliens began manipulating people, trying to break their will. We knew we had to act fast.
So we created an impulse generator that could destroy their connection. But it was risky. We knew that one mistake and everything could be lost. Nevertheless, we couldn't give up. We pressed the button and the generator started working.
When the generator activated, the aliens began to lose connection. Their ship slowed down, and we felt we had a chance. But it wasn't that simple. They started emitting energy waves, trying to destroy our generator. We had to strengthen the signal.
We connected additional devices. At the last moment, Labrador activated the final impulse that completely shut down the aliens. Their ships began to disintegrate, and the lights in the sky vanished. We won!
The world was saved, but we knew we couldn't relax. This victory taught us to be ready for anything. Dobie and I know that there could be other threats on Earth, and we'll be ready.
Yes, and the most important thing, we realized that together we can face any challenge. This experience became our lesson. We will stand guard over peace, ready to confront any threat.
Hello, friends. This is Sheriff Labrador and my faithful partner, Sheriff Dobie.
Hi, guys. Today we have something special for you. We are diving into the world of Roblox and playing the Escape Funnies Toy Shop mode.
In this mode, our main task is to escape from the creepy toy store, but it will be harder than it seems.
We'll have to hide and run from the terrifying toy that wants to trap us in its world.
Friends, hold on tight because it's going to be both fun and scary.
In this mode, we have 6 tough challenges, each testing our skills to the limit. We might even face the main toy boss at the end. It sounds frightening and exciting, but we can handle it because we are a team. We just turned on the lights to see better, and now we are heading into the ominous tunnel to find the exit.
This tunnel looks really spooky. I hope we don't encounter many traps.
The main thing is to be careful and stick together. Friends, keep your fingers crossed for us. A real challenge lies ahead.
What are these tracks? Some monster sneaked into the ventilation and left its tracks here. Maybe we could crawl through there and find the exit right away. But the vent is closed. We'll have to go through this creepy tunnel with broken pipes. Dobie, are you afraid to jump through this hot air?
No, I'm not afraid. Do you think I'm a coward? We've gone through many scary modes together. I'm almost used to them. By the way, it's better not to look down right now. Wait, do you hear that? Or is it just me?
I don't hear anything. We've encountered a real challenge. A scary maze, guys. This maze is not only complicated, but also full of dangers. A huge, terrifying toy will chase us if we don't find the exit in time. It will turn us into its toys.
This challenge will require our maximum mental and physical strength. The maze is huge, and we must be very careful to find the exit as quickly as possible. But don't worry, Labrador and I will guide you. And remember, friends,
this is just the first challenge in this mode. Ahead of us are many difficulties and puzzles. We must be ready for anything and never give up.
Hey, Labrador, this parkour is really tough. It seems we are facing the hardest challenges in this mode.
Indeed, Dobie, but this is just the beginning. We have a lot more ahead of us. By the way, do you remember what our friends said about the next challenge?
Oh, yes. They mentioned something about red and green colors. They said it's one of the most interesting challenges here. We need to be ready for anything.
I remember they said these colors are related to choosing a path or solving puzzles. We need to be alert and use our brains.
Exactly, Labrador. Let's leave the parkour behind and get ready for the next challenge. Remember, teamwork and attentiveness are our best allies here.
Absolutely, Dobie. Let's move forward. New challenges await us, and we must prove that sheriffs are not easily broken. Green light. Run, Labrador. Oh, wait, red light. Stop and don't move. Green light. Run, Dobie. Run. Just a bit more. You can do it. Oh no, stop, red light. No way out, or as they say. Or as...
Labrador, I almost lost because of you. Is something wrong with your reactions? The green light was on, and you only mentioned the red. Do you not know the difference between green and red?
Ha ha. Sorry, Dobie. I got a bit confused. Next time I'll pay more attention to the signals. Don't worry. I'll react faster in the next challenge.
We've passed the second challenge of this strange living toy, and now we just need to climb up and start the third challenge. Honestly, I thought it would be easier. This is the hardest challenge for us.
You're right. I hope you guys are subscribing to our channel and liking our efforts. These challenges are really tough, but the third challenge will be 100 times harder. I doubt our friend told the truth.
Hey, Labrador, look what's ahead. Our task is to climb this tower of toy blocks before this Titan toy robot catches and crushes us. Okay, Labrador, let's look at our options. These columns of blocks can be our cover. We can run between them to avoid the robot's grasp.
Great idea, Dobie. We can also use these toy blocks to slow down its movement. Throw them at its feet to create obstacles and gain valuable seconds.
Right, Labrador. And don't forget about teamwork. Coordinate our actions. One of us distracts the robot while the other circles the edge of the tower. This way, we can split its attention and gain more time.
Exactly, Dobie. Let's get to it. Let's show this robot who the real sheriffs are. Stick to the plan, and we'll definitely succeed.
Only 6 seconds left. I'm sure we can survive. If not, Labrador, you were the best friend I've ever had. Hooray! We managed to outsmart the Titan robot. Honestly, it was pretty dumb. Just a clumsy piece of metal destroying everything in its path.
I think we shouldn't have opened this door. It's really creepy here. It looks like the place where we need to find an exit and escape from the main character of this mode. Wish us luck, subscribers.
Hey, Labrador, look who's chasing us now. It's a living toy, and it's after us through this abandoned toy warehouse. We need to keep moving and not let it catch us, or we'll be its next victims.
Wow, Dobie, this is really terrifying. Let's use our knowledge and experience to get out of this situation. We must find a way to dodge it.
I see a machine ahead. Could it be an escape route? No, it doesn't look like it. There's lava down there. How is there lava in a toy store? Some monster must have created it while we were driving.
I wanted to tell you something yesterday. We received a call from the toy store owner. He said toys started disappearing, and all the surveillance cameras were turned off. This prompted Dobie and me to immediately head to the scene.
Yes, Labrador is right. When we arrived, the store seemed empty and abandoned, with toys and plush animals scattered everywhere.
We started the investigation and found Mr. and Mrs. Squirrel hiding in the far corner of the store. It turned out they were taking the toys, thinking they were for their children.
When we asked them why they didn't use the surveillance cameras, they said they didn't know how to turn them on and were just trying to do something nice for their kids.
In the end, we cleared things up and suggested they visit the store during business hours to buy toys. They apologized for the inconvenience and promised not to take anything without permission again.
So friends, sometimes mysterious disappearances aren't about dark forces. Sometimes it's just parents trying to make their kids' lives brighter.
It seems we've been through a lot, but now the fourth challenge awaits us, which turns out to be a real test.
Yes, Labrador, this challenge is like games such as Mario. We need to run and jump, avoiding traps and collecting everything that can help us stop the giant head of this living toy that is trying to catch and eat us.
Now Dobie and I found ourselves in a world reminiscent of classic Mario in 2D. We started on a platform surrounded by green pipes and brick blocks, but the real excitement was ahead. We were being chased by a giant toy head. We had to jump and collect bombs to slow it down.
Exactly, Labrador. These platform jumps are quite the challenge. It feels like being a puppy again, trying to reach high shelves. And those bombs are a real treasure. Throw one, and the head slows down, giving us a chance to run further. Great job, Labrador. We're almost at the finish, friends. And who would have thought that simply escaping from a toy head could be so exciting?
Here we are in the ventilation system, friends, or almost there. We've already made it halfway, and honestly, I'm a little worried. These pipes look like they haven't been cleaned in ages. And the air here, it's not the freshest. But we can't stop now. We need to keep going to get out of this toy store. Who would have thought that toys could be so dangerous?
You're right, Labrador. And these rusty pipes? It smells like an old basement, but it seems like we're no strangers to tough tasks. These old abandoned toys scattered through the sewers are staring at us with their empty eyes. They're definitely not happy to see us, so we need to be careful and stay alert.
We made it through that sewer, and I have no idea how we managed to escape. The toys tried to grab us. Oh, Dobie, look, it's game number 5.
It kind of reminds me of some game, or maybe it's just me. What do you think, guys? Let us know in the comments.
What a challenge. Dobie and I are back in the toy store, and now we have to jump on platforms that are about to start falling. As soon as they turn red, we need to get off, or we're in trouble. Honestly, I'm a bit nervous because these platforms are so slippery that you barely have time to react.
Yeah, Labrador, these platforms are a real headache. You barely land on one before it starts glowing red. It feels like a game of cat and mouse. You almost made it, but it's about to disappear beneath your feet. Of course, we're sheriffs, but here we really need to be extra careful. I even joked a few times that if I fall, I'll land on a soft toy. Whew, we barely made it through this level. What's next? Is this the end?
This toy train looks extremely suspicious. I doubt the exit is here, but we have no other choice. Settle in, Dobie. We're in for a long ride.
Let's go, Sheriff Labrador. I hope we don't encounter any screamers along the way and everything goes smoothly. Oh no, it was a trap.
What do we do now? We're falling straight down. We're going to crash Sheriff Labrador.
Are you here? I see the final arena.
Yes, I'm here. It looks like this is the final challenge. Oh, wait. It's that same living toy in a robo-suit. How do we deal with it, guys? We're facing the main boss, a toy robot threatening us with lasers and a giant metal structure.
Yes, Labrador. This robot means business. It's firing all its weapons and trying to crush us with its huge feet.
But we won't give up. To defeat this boss, we need to aim for its weak spot, the legs. We have rocket launchers and we need to hit them directly.
Let's act quickly and in sync. Labrador, you take the rocket launcher on the right. I'll take the left. Let's focus fire on its legs while we have the chance. Watch how it opens the vents on its legs.
Now's our chance to attack. Launch the rockets.
Great shot, Labrador. We damaged its leg. Just a bit more and we'll have it.
The boss is getting more aggressive. Watch out. Dodge the lasers and keep attacking its legs.
Another rocket hit the mark. The leg is starting to smoke. We're almost there.
We're on the home stretch. We'll defeat this evil robot. Hooray! We managed to destroy it. They didn't call me Diamond Eye at the Sheriff Academy for nothing. I'm a really good shot. Now we just need to find the way out of here, guys.
You're all the best. You helped us defeat this toy robot. I hope we really won and this isn't another trap.
Grandma is very close. Watch the video until the end so I can escape from her. Hello, friends. Today, Dobie and I find ourselves in the house of the meanest grandma in Roblox. She was so unpopular and lonely that over time she became very evil and crazy. Her house has turned into a real obstacle course, and to escape, we will need to work together.
Yes, Labrador, this grandma is really crazy. Every corner of her house is dangerous, and everything here requires teamwork. For example, pressing buttons to activate blocks that we need to jump on. If we work together, we have a chance to get out.
Exactly, but this house is not only dangerous, but also very beautiful. It's big, with many rooms and corridors decorated in a strange style. Despite all this beauty, we must be careful every step of the way because Grandma won't leave us alone.
She has become really scary. She's no longer just a grandma, but a real boss that we will have to fight at the end. She did everything to make sure we couldn't escape, but we're not the kind to give up, right, Labrador?
Absolutely. We've been through a lot already, and this evil grandma won't stop us. The main thing is not to lose our heads and to act in sync. We need to find buttons, activate blocks, and support each other at every stage.
And then we will succeed. We can overcome all obstacles and come out victorious from this strange and dangerous house. Teamwork is our key to success, and we'll show this grandma that she shouldn't mess with us. Exactly. There are surely many hidden buttons in this hall that need to be activated to move forward. But the most important thing is not to be afraid. We've already come so far, and we won't stop halfway.
Now we've reached the main hall. It's particularly scary here. Grandma could pop out of a window at any moment. Grandma has clearly made an effort to create a terrifying atmosphere. We need to stay alert because every room could hide new dangers. And now, when we're almost at the exit, we face the final challenger, Grandma herself. She stands at the door, glaring at us menacingly, not intending to let us go. We will need to use all our strength and skills to fight her and come out victorious.
But we can handle it. After all, we are a team. We can support each other, find weak spots, and use them to our advantage. This grandma doesn't know who she's dealing with yet. Friends, be sure to subscribe to our channel, like, and comment. It gives us strength.
I'm going to tell you a story that you definitely haven't heard before. This story started at the most unexpected moment. It was an ordinary day. Everything seemed calm. But as soon as I woke up, I received an alarming call. There was an emergency at the town prison. 2 dangerous criminals, who had been convicted for a series of bold robberies, somehow escaped. Dobie and I immediately started the investigation, but when we found out how they operated, we just couldn't believe our ears.
It was truly something strange. After Labrador told me about the incident, we immediately began searching the town. What did we find out? These 2, who had escaped from prison, decided to use a trick. They disguised themselves as elderly people. Their plan was simple. No one would suspect old folks, especially in our town where everyone is used to kind and quiet grandmothers and grandfathers. But it was just an outward deception.
Yes, exactly. They started walking around the town, gathering information on houses where they could commit robberies. We began noticing strange events. In one house, money disappeared. In another, valuable items vanished. That's when I realized these two were behind it all. But how could we find them if they were hiding behind the mask of ordinary elderly people? It was like looking for a needle in a haystack.
At first, we tried checking the elderly people who had recently arrived in the town, but they were all clean. The problem was that the criminals had disguised themselves very well. We couldn't catch them doing anything suspicious. But soon, Labrador noticed something strange. In one neighborhood, where everything seemed quiet and peaceful, suddenly strange disappearances began occurring. The elderly people's apartments would suddenly be empty. Their belongings were gone, and they supposedly went to visit relatives.
That's when it became clear to me that we needed to act more carefully. These two criminals must have been leaving some trace, so Dobie and I decided to focus on the houses where these disappearances had occurred. We began checking each location, but here was the catch. How could we tell which elderly people were real and which ones were criminals in disguise? It was like a game of cat and mouse.
That's when I came up with an idea to organize a small event for the elderly, a gathering so everyone would come. I was sure that among them, we would find those who were hiding something. We arranged a celebration in the town center and invited all the elderly folks. Among them were many kind and sweet residents, but there were two who stood out. They were too active, asking too many questions, walking around, avoiding talking to others.
And right then, Dobie and I knew they were the ones, the escaped criminals. We approached them, and as soon as they noticed us, they suddenly changed their behavior. They started getting nervous and even tried to escape. We immediately called for backup and apprehended them. Once they were in our hands, they couldn't escape the law. It was like a movie, only the reality was much scarier.
Yes, and when we arrested them, they couldn't believe they were caught. Their crimes turned out to be numerous, and all of them were hidden behind the mask of harmless old folks. Labrador and I managed to catch them and return all the stolen goods. Now, these two criminals are back in prison and won't harm anyone again.
This story began on a typical morning when something incredible happened in our town. I woke up as usual and went for my morning run. But within a few minutes, I noticed something was wrong. Everyone around me started aging. My friend, Old Beaver, looked even older, and the young animals in our town began to wrinkle. I immediately knew this was no coincidence.
Labrador called me, and I rushed over to him. The scene was just horrifying. On the streets of our town, all the animals looked like old folks. I had never seen anything like it. We needed to quickly figure out what had happened. We met with Dr. Fox, who confirmed our fears. Someone had poisoned the air in our town. He said this substance caused animals' bodies to age at an alarming rate.
We started the investigation by visiting all the key places in town. First, we visited the clean air factory on the outskirts of town. There we found traces of some strange substance that was clearly not part of the normal production. The factory was run by Old Raccoon, who seemed unaware of what was happening. But we couldn't rule anyone out as a suspect.
Next, we went to the lab where Dr. Fox was analyzing the found substance. He said it was a complex chemical compound that could only be produced by a highly qualified chemist. We began interviewing everyone who could have access to such chemicals. This led us to Professor Skunk, who had recently come to town for a scientific conference. We decided he might know something about this.
When we arrived at the professor's, he looked worried and frightened. He told us that he was working on a new type of fuel that accidentally had a side effect. It aged living organisms. He claimed he never meant to harm anyone, and that his invention had been stolen. He gave us a lead that pointed to an old warehouse on the edge of town, where he suspected the stolen substance might be hidden.
We quickly reached the warehouse and found not only the stolen substance, but also a suspect. It was one of the former employees of the Clean Air Factory, who wanted revenge for being fired. He wanted to tarnish the town's and the factory's reputation, but didn't realize the terrible effect his actions would cause. We apprehended him and handed him over to the authorities.
Then began the difficult task of cleaning the air. Dr. Fox and Professor Skunk together developed an antidote, which we distributed throughout the town. Gradually, all the residents started returning to their normal ages. It was truly a miracle. Our town came back to life and everyone thanked us for saving them.
This story taught us many things. We realized how important it is to be vigilant and take care of our town's safety. And although that morning started with horror, it ended with our town becoming stronger and more united. Labrador and I will continue to protect it from any threats, because there is nothing more important to us than the safety of our residents.
It was an unusual incident when that strange old lady appeared in our town. They said she was elderly, but her eyes glowed with a sinister light. She would come to the children, promising to grant wishes, but every time someone asked for her help, something horrible would happen.
When Labrador and I arrived at her house, we realized something was off. Black plants were growing around the house, and the air felt thick. She stood at the door, staring at us, but not moving. We decided that we needed to uncover her magic.
When Dobie and I entered the old lady's house, we immediately felt that something was off. It was dark and stuffy inside. We found an old spell book, and soon realized that the old lady was a witch, using magic to age people and steal their life force. This explained all the strange happenings in the town. We knew we had to break her spells as quickly as possible.
With the power of our will, we managed to destroy her magic. At that moment, the old lady vanished, and with her, all her charms disappeared. When we returned to town, people began to go back to their normal lives. It all ended like a bad dream.
Well, friends, we finally made it out of that scary house and defeated the evil grandmother. I hope you enjoyed this adventure. We'll be happy to see you in our next videos.
Absolutely right, Labrador. Thank you for being with us. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on our new adventures. For now, take care and see you next time.
Friends, quickly hit the like button and watch the video until the end so that the evil doll lets me go. What? Where are we, Dobie?
I don't know, but it looks like a children's room with toys everywhere.
Wait, this is something strange. It looks like we've ended up in a room full of evil dolls. Hey everyone, today Dobie and I are trying to escape from the house of evil dolls.
Wow, what's ahead of us? Many scary trials and puzzles. Our goal is not just to get out, but to defeat the evilest doll.
Look at this room. It has a strange atmosphere, kind of like childhood memories.
I agree. We've come back to our childhood, but this is definitely not the place we'd want to be.
It seems like we need to go through this narrow passage. It looks like it leads straight to the house. I hope the doll doesn't start hunting us right away.
We found some candy. I wouldn't try it. Who knows? Maybe she poisoned them. We need to collect 10 of these candies.
Looks like we need to jump here. Let's put that off for now and explore the house. Maybe we'll find something useful.
Here's another candy. Yay! A checkpoint. This means if we die, we can come back here. Look at how much she loves her portraits. Seems like you took your words too literally. It wasn't worth dying just to check. I thought you could go through there. There's another hole ahead. Should we go down? It looks like a place straight from hell, but not exactly.
There's a mountain of dishes here.
For me, a mountain of dishes is real hell.
I hate washing dishes. I actually like it. I turn on my favorite music and sing along. It really lifts my mood.
Strange. Looks like no one's cleaned here in years. Maybe she just buys new dishes instead of washing the old ones.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can't find another explanation for this mess.
It seems like we still have a long way to go. I can't see the end. These arrows seem hypnotic, like they were made to cause hallucinations.
Did you notice? The floor is like lava, but roses are growing in it. Looks like hallucinations.
I see them too. Nice, we've reached another checkpoint. Seems like the end is near. I hope there's no parkour ahead.
I'm a little tired already. These toys, I feel like there's something sinister about them. Maybe the souls of children are trapped inside.
Brr, creepy. By the way, did you know that the toys in the game Poppy Playtime aren't actually bloody, but a mix of red poppy? I've been studying the plot of this game recently. It's pretty interesting.
No, I didn't know that. I'll have to check it out sometime. But look, we've been tricked. This isn't the end. However, I can see a house in the distance. Looks like we need to head there.
Let's hurry. I even see a Ferris wheel. That looks like an interesting place. I wish the amusement park were near the police station. Hey, Labrador, have you ever thought about candy?
Of course, who doesn't love it? Do you have a favorite candy?
I think my favorites are chocolate candies with nuts. What about you?
I prefer caramel candies. They're so tasty, like sweet music in the middle of the workday.
Sometimes caramel is a real lifesaver. But you know what's better than candy? I don't know. Maybe even more candy.
Just look at her. Why is she sitting there, staring at us and not even greeting us?
It seems like she's pretending to be a lifeless doll, but in reality, she's watching us. That's much creepier.
Maybe we need to find a way to open the gate. Here's a button. We need to press 3 of them. It also says we can hide. Clearly, a dangerous trial awaits us.
Let's go. Look, she's coming down on her long braids. How does she even see anything with those eyes?
Oh no, let's hide quickly. We need to observe her from a safe place.
Let's climb higher. Maybe she won't see us.
Did you see her braids flashing past the room? I would hold my breath.
Let's not forget our main task. We still need to press 2 more buttons.
Good thing we looked around. It's always useful to check everything. There are many rooms here where we can hide, so this trial won't be too hard for us, especially with our experience.
I keep hearing her whispering. It's really unsettling.
The City of Beasts has always been a place where the most unusual events happened. But one of the strangest occurrences took place when the candy monster appeared. It all started when a new candy factory opened in our city. All the residents, especially the children, were thrilled. The factory promised the most delicious and unusual candies. But soon, strange things began to happen. The children complained that the candies started behaving strangely. They seemed to come to life and move. Things got even worse when a real monster, made of sweet treats, broke free from the factory.
This candy monster was terrifying. It was huge, with caramel eyes and lollipop teeth. Every time it stepped on the ground, the sound of cracking candy filled the air, and the atmosphere was filled with a sweet but unpleasant odor. It began to destroy everything in its path. Stores, homes, and even roads. Labrador and I had to intervene urgently. We started investigating what exactly caused the appearance of this monster. We found out that all the candies at the factory were made using experimental ingredients that gave them monstrous power, but also caused unusual mutations.
Dobie and I decided to act quickly. There was no time for a long investigation. We needed to stop the monster urgently. Using our skills and new technology, we managed to find its weak spot. Upon arriving at the factory, we discovered that, despite its terrifying appearance, the monster was actually vulnerable. All the candies that made up the monster were controlled by a single mechanism. We realized that if we disrupted this mechanism, the monster would disappear.
We decided to infiltrate the factory where the monster was created. It was dangerous, as each step could lead to further destruction. But Labrador and I acted swiftly and confidently. Soon, we found the most important part of the factory, a secret storage of the ingredients used to create these living candies. We destroyed the special machine that generated them and immediately began to notice the monster losing its strength. It started to shrink and disappear until it turned into a pile of regular candies.
When the candy monster vanished, the city was once again filled with peace and tranquility. The factory was closed, and all its dangerous ingredients were destroyed. Dobie and I returned to the station, reflecting on how unusual events can affect our city. We realized that sometimes even the most harmless things, like candies, can lead to real catastrophes. But thanks to our teamwork and skills, we managed to stop this threat.
After we defeated the candy monster, our city returned to normal life. Labrador and I understood that it's not only important to solve problems, but also to prevent them, so such disasters don't happen again. The city became safe again, and the children could once again enjoy their sweets without fear. But we always remembered this incident because, as strange as it sounds, candies might not be as harmless as they seem.
In our City of Beasts, there has always been no shortage of unexpected events, but one day something truly unusual happened. It all began the day the circus came to town. Among the many attractions and shows was a huge toy store. All the little animals eagerly went there to pick out new toys. But by evening, Dobie and I received a strange call. A mysterious virus had infected the toy store, causing all the dolls in the shop to come to life. They began to move and speak, and some of them became aggressive, causing panic among the children and parents.
When we arrived at the scene, the situation was already under control, but the tension in the air was palpable. We saw the dolls in the shop's windows one by one, standing up and crawling out. Some of them looked friendly, but others, not so much. They started marching through the city, scaring the residents. It was clear that this virus, which had infected the toys, was far more serious than we had thought. Instead of delighting children, the dolls had become a threat to the whole community. Labrador and I immediately began our investigation.
It turned out that the virus that turned the toys into living beings was the result of an experiment by a scientist who once worked with circus dolls, trying to create robots that could mimic living creatures. He had accidentally created something that developed self-awareness. These dolls were no longer just toys. They began to think and make decisions. Some of them didn't like being mere toys for children, and they decided they needed more freedom.
Realizing that we were up against not just ordinary toys, but sentient beings, Labrador and I decided to proceed with caution. We started tracking the dolls' every movement, but they were too fast and agile. We needed to find a way to stop the virus that had brought them to life, or else they could take over the entire city. We set up special equipment to investigate how the virus worked, and soon discovered its source, a strange control panel hidden at the center of the toy store.
We quickly infiltrated the store, and with the help of special devices, we disabled the control panel. But, unfortunately, the virus had already spread so much that even without a control source, the dolls kept moving. However, when we activated the program to neutralize the virus, the dolls began to slow down and eventually stopped altogether. It felt like a miracle, but we knew that it wasn't just about defeating these animated toys. We also needed to figure out how to prevent similar incidents in the future.
Once all the dolls had returned to being just toys, Labrador and I went back to the station to assess the damage and analyze how we could prevent such situations. We realized that even the most harmless things, like dolls, can lead to big problems if they're not properly controlled. But the most important thing was that we had prevented a disaster and restored safety to the city.
That's it, friends. We finally defeated the evil doll queen. This battle was a real challenge. See you soon, friends. Save us. Guys, watch this video until the end. Like it and leave a comment, and you'll save us. Hello, friends. Today, Dobie and I have found ourselves in a real predicament. We've been trapped by the evil Karen, who believes she's the only beautiful person on Earth. Her house is a fortress filled with traps and secrets. We have to work together to escape. Karen is so wealthy that her house is packed with all sorts of gadgets she uses to keep us captive.
Hi, everyone. Yes, Labrador is right. Karen is a real villain. Her beauty is deceptive. Behind it lies a cold heart. She trapped us and wants to keep us here forever to be the only beauty around. Her house is indeed luxurious, but the atmosphere is sinister. You can feel her presence in every corner. Everything around reminds us of her vanity and pursuit of perfection.
Every room in her house is a separate challenge. We have to work together to activate hidden mechanisms and platforms that allow us to move forward. Teamwork is essential here. I press a button and a path opens up for Dobie. Then he does the same for me. Step by step, we advance despite all the obstacles Karen throws at us.
This really requires complete synchronization and trust in each other. Only then can we overcome these challenges. In some places, the house feels like a maze where it's easy to get lost. But we won't give up because our goal is to escape and stop Karen. Her control over this place makes her even more dangerous. But I believe we can handle it together.
Moreover, Karen's house is filled with mirrors and reflections. She obviously adores her reflection and thinks it gives her more power. But we must not succumb to her influence. Instead, we use it as a clue to find hidden exits or keys. Every action she takes against us becomes a new opportunity for us to find a way out.
The rooms where she keeps her treasures and jewelry are particularly interesting. These halls look dazzling, but they hide the most dangerous traps. Karen doesn't want anyone to steal her jewels, so she has done everything to guard them. However, in these halls, we can also find important items that will help us escape. We need to be extremely careful and attentive.
We understand that at the end of this journey, we will face a final showdown with Karen herself. She will probably defend her kingdom to the last, but we have no choice but to fight. We know that defeating her is the only way to regain our freedom. Karen may be strong and cunning, but our friendship and unity give us the strength to move forward.
We hope for your support, friends. With each step, we get closer to freedom and victory over Karen. This path is not easy, but we believe we can overcome all the obstacles. Your faith in us helps us keep going. Don't forget to subscribe and like.
Recently, something completely unusual happened in our town. I guess I should start from the very beginning. One morning, Madame Karen, the most beautiful lady I had ever seen, came to visit us. She appeared in the square, and her dazzling beauty mesmerized everyone around. It seemed like no one could resist her charms. Soon, we noticed that people started acting strangely. They began bringing her jewels and the most delicious candies, as if they were under some kind of hypnosis.
It was truly incredible. Every day, we saw the townspeople lining up to give Madame Karen their most valuable possessions. Labrador and I immediately realized that something wasn't right. Madame Karen didn't just appear in our town for no reason. She was clearly using her beauty to manipulate the townspeople.
We began an investigation. At first, everything seemed too tangled. No one could explain why they were so eager to please Madame Karen. Professor Owl, our old friend and sage, advised us to pay attention to the behavior of the townspeople. She suggested that Madame Karen might have been using some sort of method to control them. We decided to keep a closer watch on her.
One night, we decided to follow Madame Karen. She lived in a large mansion on the outskirts of town. We sneaked inside and discovered that there was a huge mirror ball in her room. It was a device that emitted hypnotic waves, controlling the will of anyone who came under its influence. We realized that we needed to turn it off immediately.
We came up with a plan. I took on the task of distracting Madame Karen while Dobie disabled the device. At the moment she started suspecting something was wrong, I engaged her in conversation. It was difficult because her beauty could really drive anyone mad, but I knew I couldn't give in to her charms.
Meanwhile, I made my way to the mirror ball. Turning it off wasn't easy. It was protected by a complex system, but thanks to our skills and experience in situations like this, I found a weak spot. I quickly dismantled the mechanism and shut off the hypnotic waves. As soon as the ball stopped emitting waves, all the townspeople under Madame Karen's influence started coming to their senses.
Madame Karen lost her power. Without the hypnotic device, her charms no longer worked. The townspeople began to realize what had happened, and they were filled with gratitude for our intervention. We arrested Madame Karen and handed her over to justice. She could no longer harm anyone in our town.
This story taught us a lot. External beauty doesn't always reflect true intentions. It's important to always stay alert and not be swayed by first impressions. Labrador and I did everything we could to protect our town and its people, and in the end, justice prevailed. Now, our town is peaceful and calm again. Everyone has returned to their usual routines, and there is no longer any fear of someone manipulating us.
Ah, dear subscribers, something unexpected and, frankly, quite strange happened in our town. Let me start from the beginning. One fine day, we noticed that all the most beautiful boys and girls started gathering together. At first, it was just small groups, but then the situation started spiraling out of control. These young residents of the town, all possessing incredible beauty, suddenly began to unite. It was like magic. The more they came together, the stronger and more attractive they became. And when their powers reached their peak, from their union emerged none other than the boss of beauty. I can tell you, it was something truly out of the ordinary.
And it really became a problem. The boss of beauty wasn't just beautiful, he was huge, powerful, and as I discovered, not exactly friendly. This giant started destroying everything in his path. He walked through the town, and his shining image literally made everyone fall to their knees. Some people were forced to look at him in admiration. Others tried to find the strength to turn away, but no one could resist his attractiveness.
I can't help but mention that this was truly a nightmare. Everything we knew about dealing with criminals wasn't helping. This wasn't a regular threat. It was a true wonder of nature. The boss of beauty wasn't just destroying buildings. He was destroying the morals of the townspeople, making them forget about the important things in life and focus only on appearances. This was dangerous for everyone because we had no idea how to fight it.
So, we had to act fast. We started gathering information on what could stop this giant of beauty. I suggested using an old trick. Sometimes too much beauty becomes inconvenient. We turned to the wise residents of the town, those who weren't so dependent on appearances. In the end, it turned out that to defeat the boss of beauty, we just needed to make him see the real, unidealized picture of the world. We decided to carry out an operation that would shatter his illusion.
We started by asking some of our friends, who weren't as attractive, but were very smart, to use mirrors and other reflective surfaces. We set a trap so that his reflection would show him something he didn't want to see. Mirrors outside, combined with reflective surfaces inside buildings, began to create optical illusions. We created such a reflection that the boss of beauty himself started doubting his own strength.
And it worked! The boss of beauty began losing his confidence. The mirrors started showing him that his appearance wasn't everything, and that there were other important things in the town. By the time he realized he couldn't control his emotions through his beauty, we took the opportunity to weaken his power. We ripped control of the town from his hands and destroyed the magic of his attractiveness.
And so, thanks to our plan, the boss of beauty stopped destroying the town. We brought him back to reality, where not only external beauty matters, but also inner qualities. This was a lesson not only for him, but also for all the townspeople. Beauty is important, of course, but it doesn't solely define who you are. We saved the town, and people began to appreciate not just appearances, but the things that truly make them strong.
Yes, we won, but I'll tell you one thing. We also need to be careful with beauty. Sometimes it can cloud the mind, but only true values will help us stay on the right path. In the end, what matters is what's inside, and our town is once again as it should be, harmonious and happily balanced.
After we destroyed her mechanisms and broke all the traps, Karen activated her final defense. She transformed into a giant right in front of us. Her entire body became enormous, and her eyes burned with evil. We knew this was our final battle. But how could we defeat such a giant Karen?
We quickly noticed that there were weak spots on her body, glowing brightly. These were clearly her vulnerabilities. But to reach those spots, we needed to distract her. We immediately realized that we had an unconventional weapon, the poop that Karen absolutely hated. It was just like her own gifts to anyone who didn't please her.
Karen started losing her confidence more and more. We saw her strength fading, and with every hit she grew weaker. Eventually, she collapsed to the ground, unable to stand before us any longer. We defeated her, not with strength, but with persistence and teamwork. Thank you all for watching. We defeated Evil Karen.